Alright, let's talk about Poseidon.
Holy fuck!
You like it warm, huh? It's intense.
Yeah, but not that one. Okay, so let's do the dream hunt for Poseidon. Now, before I begin, I just want to say this one is not exactly, it was a little frustrating because I almost got it done in several different ways, but I was like, a few mega credits or whatever short from doing it, and just I had to do it in a more like using a few cards that are less synergic and a little bit more boring and a little bit more obvious, right? So, not super proud of that, but I mean, I had to. And yeah, so let's go over the rules that I used for Dreamhand, and you can check my first video, that one probably has a better description, but the idea is I'm gonna try to find the best possible hand for a corporation, in a way that they can play most of it in the first generation, leaving only a few cards for the second generation or the end of the game, in case they are point kind of cards, and only because it doesn't make sense to play them in the first generation. We're actually going to see an example of that here. And then the other idea is to maximize synergy. So I'm not going to be playing Earth Catapult and AI Central for every corporation, even though that would be probably the best starting hand for every corporation. I'm going to try to do the best hand for a corporation's strengths, right? Even if it's, if you're playing a bunch of science decks and Earth Catapult and something like that is probably better. But yeah. Now, there are a few additional rules that I created. The first one is when I draw a card, I'm never going to assume what card it is, because then you could do something like that video where they terraform Mars in one generation, which I'm link up there. It's great, I love it, I watch it like every other month. But I will assume it if it's a card with a tag. So something like Acquire Space Agency, which I almost used. If I'm not using it, but if I was, then I would just decide what space tag I draw. Okay, and then because we're doing Poseidon, there's a few other rules. First of all, I'm gonna assume what colonies are in play, because I mean, I had like otherwise, what's the point? And I'm also going to assume that I like managed to trade first in the first generation, right? Because again, if not, where's the fun? It's Poseidon, right? It's very possible that someone trades before me in a real game. But yeah, I'm just gonna take that liberty with Poseidon. And I'm also assuming that no colonies are placed in the first generation. That will probably just help my income and overall mega credit production. Sorry, and mega credits. But I'm just like it's an unknown, right? So I'm not gonna like give me that advantage either. But anyway, let's begin. So we play Poseidon. Obviously, it starts with 45 NC. Its first action will be a colony, and it will, whenever a colony is placed, it gains 1 MC production. We're gonna buy 8 cards, so that's 24 cash. So we're left with 21. So let's move on to the preludes. The first prelude is going to be Colony Trade Hub. Now, I'll be honest, Acquired Space Agency worked better. But this, I feel, is more synergic, and I feel I have to play this. And it's better, this one's actually better long term. But Acquired Space Agency basically gave me 2 cards, which is 6, because I would have just taken them instead of buying them, plus the 18 in titanium. That would be 24. Colony Trade Hub it's gonna give me around 19. So it's actually 5 worse in the first generation. And I'm including in the 19 the value of the energy production, but I just went for it because it's more synergic. I might do a one with Acquire Space Agency later, because honestly, I think I can make something cooler with it, but for now let's just stick to Colony Trade Hub. Okay, my next prelude. Okay, so sorry. That gives me this bonus where whenever I place a colony, which I haven't yet, I gain 2 cash. My energy production goes to 1, and my titanium goes to 2, right? And then my next prelude is going to be early colonization, so I'm going to place my first colony. Now the colonies that are in play are Luna and Pluto. And then I'm going to place that on Luna, so that brings my MC production to 3. And that's 1 for Poseidon and 2 for the Luna colony placement bonus. And then I'm going to have 3 energy, right? And because I placed a colony, I gain 2 cash because of the colony trade hub bonus, so my cash goes to 23. Right? Okay. Now, my first action is actually the corporation action. So I'm just placing a colony, and I'm going to place it on Pluto. I can place it on Luna, unless, because I already have a colony there. And so that's going to take my MC production to 4 because of my corporation bonus. And then I'm going to gain 2 more cash from Colony Trade Hub, so it goes to 25. And everything else stays... Oh, I also gain 2 cards, right? So, yeah, Pluto, the colony placement bonus, gives me 2 cards. Okay, so let's move on to the projects. Now, the first project I'm going to play is Research Colony. Now, the reason I'm choosing this one, well, one reason was the fact that it was a science tag. But that ended up not mattering. The main reason, though, is that I get to place a colony where I already have a colony. And that's obviously going to go on Luna. And there are only 2 cards with this effect, so yeah, it's a bit of an expensive colony, but I had to go for it. Anyway, it goes on Luna, and so we're just going to pay 20 for it. And we're going to get 2 back because again, the colony trade hub bonus, we're placing a colony, so our mega crate production goes to 7. Sorry, our total mega crates go to 7 out of the 25. Then my cards, this draws me 2 cards, so my cards go to 4. And then because I'm placing on Luna, I get 2 production from Luna and 1 production from the Poseidon bonus. So my money production goes to 7. Okay. Now this is the part where I did something I'm not too proud of, but let's see how that works. So then investment loan. So investment loan is going to cost me 3, but it's going to gain me 10, so my mega credit production goes to 14. And then everything else stays the same, except my mega credit production goes to 6, right? And then I'm going to do indentured workers, which doesn't do anything except make my next card cheaper. Now my next card, you probably would have guessed was here, is Allied Trade Terminal. So Allied Trade Terminal now costs 17 because of indentured workers. I'm going to use 2 titanium to pay for it, the 2 titanium that I had, and so it costs 11 mega credits, so I go from 14 to 3. I lose all my titanium, and everything else is the same. I don't have a place to place the 3 resources, but of course that's optional. And now let's just keep track of where, so I'm just gonna move the colony tracker, even though this effect is only for me, but as I'm the only one trading for it, yeah, it'll move there. Just so you guys know where it's at. Okay, now, so I have 3 cash left, but I have 4 cards that I drew. I'm just gonna sell those for 4 cash, and my cash is gonna go to 7, my cards are gonna go to 0, everything else stays the same. And then I'm going to play Trade Envoys, which costs 6. It moves my colony marker, and then my mega credits are at 1. Everything else stays the same. And now we trade. So as you can see, Luna's marker is at the last spot, which is 17, plus double colony bonus. That gives me a total of 21. So I just use my 3 energy and gain 21 cash. So I go to 22. Okay, and then the last part is going to be, I'm going to play Rim Fighters. That just costs 4. and I go to 18, and then I'm gonna play Giant Space Mirror. And again, this one's a little boring. It's like the most boring way to get to 4 energy production. But I'm gonna pay for Giant Space Mirror, and then my total mega credits go to 1, and my energy production goes to 4. And because I have Rim Fighters, I can trade twice if I were to get a second fleet. So that's my last card. I've played 7. My last card is going to be a turn 2 Spaceport Colony. Now that would probably, I mean, you can fully put it on Luna and enjoy it. But I'm guessing I probably put it on Pluto. And so what that does is that every turn I'm gonna get the last step of each colony, right? Because there's at least 2 colonies on it. So the marker starts in the 3rd spot, and then at the beginning of each generation it moves to the 4th. And then because of Trade Envoys and L1 Trade Terminal, it moves from the 4th to the 7th. And I have 2 double colony bonuses on on both. And I have my 2 trade fillets, and I can trade for 2 energy to both with Rim Fighters, and I have 4 energy production. So every turn I can get 21 cash and draw 6 cards and discard 2. Which is insane. That's really just a winning hand from there. Obviously, people are going to trade with, but even if they trade with Luna ahead of you, so they're only getting the 7th. I mean, they could place a colony, obviously. But if they don't, and only one person can, they would get 7. They would be trading 3 energy for 7 and giving you 4 for free. And in Pluto's case, they're trading 3 energy for 2 cards, because it's at the 4th spot, and they're giving you 2 double discards and draws, right? So that's basically drawing 2 cards, because you can usually find something to discard. But yeah, 21 cash and 16, and also your money production is at 6, and that's without counting any colonies that they might place, which would also trigger your colony trade hub bonus. That bonus is not insane. Like, I mean, there could be other colonies, obviously, and I mean, I didn't build anything for it, but if there are floater colonies, or especially the point colonies, floater and animal colonies, you could obviously place like 1 colony there and start trading there, because the colony is already too cheaper for you, and with the production that you get is even cheaper, right? So that's all fully doable, but I think with this hand, it fully works, right? Okay, so I had actually recorded a bit of like what I wasn't able to do with, like I said, it was a little frustrated in the cards that I used, but I actually figured out a way to do it. So I'm just going to include a second option here in my in the same video for the Poseidon Dreamhand. So I mean, you already know the rules. I'll just jump into it because I didn't want to make the video too long. But yeah, it's gonna be, we're gonna buy 10 cards. And okay, I guess we'll be tracking a few different things. So Mercredi Titanium, Graphite Resources, you'll see that, number of cards, science tags, energy production, and Mercredi production. So yeah, we buy 10 cards. And then the first prelude is going to be Acquire Space Agency, so that's going to give us 2 more cards. Those are space tags, and so I have like 12 cards that I can choose from, as long as 2 are space. And then I also have 6 titanium, right? My second prelude is going to be the same as before, early colonization. So I'm going to put a colony in Luna, get that production to 3, and now I have 3 energy. Okay. So moving on to my first action, that's going to be the forced action of placing a colony. And that one has to go on Pluto, so I get 2 cards. Everything else stays the same, and money production goes to 4, right? Now, my first card, okay, so I have 15 cash, right? My first card is going to be Indentured Workers. I still had to include this, but it's going to be cool, don't worry. And then my next card is going to be Carbon Nanosystems, and discounted by 8 because of Indentured Workers. It's gonna cost 6, so my cash goes to 9. I get 1 graphite resource because of the science tag. Yeah, and everything else stays the same. After that, with those 9, I'm gonna play advanced alloys. That also gives me a 2nd graphite resource, and now my titanium is worth 4. And everything else stays the same. Then my 4th card is going to be Mercurian alloys. I'm going to overpay with one of the graphite resources. Those are worth 4. This is a space tag, so I can pay with it. So those are worth 4, so I'm just going to overpay. And everything else stays the same, but my titanium is worth 5 now. So now that it's worth 5, with 4 titanium I can play for Research Colony. Because it has a science tag, my graphite resources go up to 2. Titanium goes down to 2. I'm gonna place this colony on Luna, so my MC prod is going to go to 7. Again, 1 for Poseidon, 2 for Luna, and the card has 2 cards on it, so I'm gonna draw 2 cards. That goes to 4. Everything else stays the same. The next card I play is going to be Ceres Tech Market. I'm going to pay that with 2 graphite resources and a titanium. That's 4 plus 4 plus 5, 13. So I'm overpaying by 1. By 1, but I had no other way to do it. But also this is a science tag, so my graphite resources go down to 0 and then back up to 1. My titanium goes down to 1. And my titanium goes down to 1, and everything else stays the same. Okay, now when Ceres Tech Market comes into play, I actually gain 6, and then I sell all my cards, so my cash goes to 14, right? So I gain 6 because of the 2 per colony. I have 3 colonies. 2 on Luna, 1 on Pluto, and then I'm gonna sell the 4 cards, the 2 I drew with the Pluto colony and the 2 from the research colony for 2x, so that gives me 8. That takes my cash to 14, right? Yeah, everything else stays the same. Okay, so up next I'm gonna play solar wind power, and that's I'm gonna use 1 titanium and 1 graphite resource, so that's 9, and then 2 cash. So my cash goes down to 12, my titanium goes down to 0, and my graphite resources also go down to 0. But solar wind power gives me 2 titanium and 1 graphite resource because it's a science tag, and I also get 1 energy production. I'm gonna use that next by playing Dusk Laser Mining. So that costs 8. I'm gonna pay it with 1 graphite resource and 4 cash. I don't want to overpay with the titanium at this point anymore. I don't have to. So 1 graphite resource is 4 and 4 cash. My cash goes down to 8. My titanium goes up to 6. My graphite resource goes to 0. And my energy production goes back down to 0. But now I also have 1 titanium production. I'm not tracking that because I'm not really using it and I didn't have the space, but you know, you also finish the gen with 1 titanium production. And yeah, that's no more changes there. But then I play LI Trade Terminal. And LI Trade Terminal costs 25, my titanium is worth 5, so I just pay with 5 titanium. So my titanium goes back down to 1. My cash is still at 8. And everything else stays the same. Okay, after L1 Trade Terminal, I'm gonna play Trade Envoys. Trade Envoys has no tax, so I just pay that with cash. So my cash goes from 8 to 6. And that means also that the marker for me is on the last part of the colonies. So the next thing I do is trade. Okay, so I trade. Again, I'm at 17 plus 2 colonies, that's 21. So I go up to 23 with my trade. And everything else stays the same. Move the marker down. And so finally, I'm gonna play Mass Converter. So that's gonna give me 6 energy production and a discount of 2 on space cards. And so with Mass Converter, my cash goes down to 15. And I also get a graphite resource. Let's update the science tags, but nothing changes there. And so I'm finishing with 15 cash, 1 titanium for 21, graphite resource for 24. My next card was going to be Spaceport Colony again, which costs 27. With the Mass Converter discount, it actually costs 22. But sorry, 25, but I have 24. So I mean, it's a second turn card anyway, because I can't do anything with the fleet right now. And yeah, I mean, I might have to fight people for a colony spot considering that, but I still, like, that's pretty good, right? So this is a much better hand than the first one. Let's look at the final situation. So I finished with 1 titanium production. I have an ongoing graphite effect whenever I play science tags, and I am at 6 science tags, and I'm also going to be drawing a ton of cards with Pluto, so that's going to be a ton of money that I can use for city and space tags. I have 6 energy prot and 2 trade fleets, which means I can trade twice to Pluto and Luna, which again both have 2 colonies. I also finished with 7 money production, which is 1 more than in the other scenario. And I have a nice ongoing effect also with Series Tech Market, which yeah, I'm gonna get to these cards for 2, and since I'm gonna be drawing a lot of cards, that's actually very valuable. And finally, my titanium is worth 5, and I have 1 production, like I said, so it's 12 production instead of 6, like in the other scenario, plus the graphite resources, plus the Series effect, and it is just much better. I still think I like the other one more, because ASA, Aquarius Space Agency, feels a little like cheating, but it was nice to... I really wanted to play Carbon Nanosystems and Series Tech Market, and I also love the Solar Wind Power and Dust Laser Mining combo, which I think you used in the follow up too, because it's awesome. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna quickly go over the expansions, and I'm gonna do it quickly because I did 2 scenarios, which I don't usually do. But so obviously I'm playing with Prelude and Colonies. I would not play... I don't think I would play Turmoil, just because my advantage on colonies is so big. I don't want to give anyone any game. And I have card draw, insane card draw with Pluto. Even if someone else trades to it, I get to draw 2, just discard 2 and draw 2, which I should be able to. So good eco and good card draw. I like... Turmoil can also help people rush if they get the greens in power, even though I should have good control over the Senate. And my 1 titanium, yeah, Unity could help. I don't think the scientists would help, because I don't want anyone else to get the card draw that I have. So Unity could help, but it's giving me 1 more cash per turn, right? Because my titanium production is 1 right now, so I'm not crazy about it. So no Turmoil. Venus, I'm like iffy on it, but my inclination is no, because... Well, actually, yeah, I think Venus dilutes the deck, and I do want a slower game, so I would add Venus to this. Yeah, it just makes rushing cards more rare, so I'm definitely going for an engine. So yeah, I would do Venus, no Turmoil. And then for maps, I am definitely going for Utopia Planitia. Just look at the milestones on this thing. I got Pioneer, which is 3 colonies, which I already have. Researcher is 4 science tags, which I already have. And then Trader, it requires 3 different types of resources on cards. I only have 1, but it's basically a rare one, a graphites. So, I mean, getting a floater card or a microbe card would shouldn't be that hard, right? Or an asteroid. Well, asteroid should be harder, but floater and obviously floater and microbe would be the first choice. So you can claim 2 milestones in Gen 2, a 3rd one, probably a few gens from there, and you're gonna have a... Yeah, metallurgist is also... I mean, you need 4 more production, but you obviously want titanium production and you're drawing so many cards. So yeah, definitely Utopia Planitia is the map for this one. It's nice also to be able to use one of the new ones. But yeah, anyway, that's it for the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know which scenario you like more, and see you next time.